leadership listening skills. Pop quiz. As a leader, which skill is more important? Listening or speaking? If you said speaking, you would be right. If you said listening, you would be even more right. So yeah, both are important. But leadership listening skills get way less attention. Let's change that. Because if you don't listen the right way, your ability to speak persuasively will be seriously handicapped. Today, I'm giving you my 3 strategies for listening like a leader. What's up, Explearners? Mary Daphne here of myexplearning.com, where we believe a richer life begins with better communication. You've probably caught wind by now that listening is just as important as speaking if you want to be an effective leader. If you're not able to listen, you're not able to communicate. And if you're not able to communicate, no one listens. And if no one listens, then you're not able to lead. Let's talk about 3 ways you can enhance your leadership listening skills to become a more effective leader. Number 1, listen passionately. Most people think that listening is easy. Just sit and look at the person who's speaking, right? The truth is that effective listening is so much more than a passive activity. If you're doing it right, listening should be even more work than speaking. This begins with proving to the speaker that you are engaged in the conversation. This is a combination of body language and strategically timed interjections. Your face should express the way what they are saying makes you feel. For example, did they say something surprising? Raise your eyebrows and say something like, wow. Did they speak in an exasperated tone? Nod knowingly and say something like, that sounds frustrating. Pay attention to the speaker's body language and their tone of voice. They'll be giving tons of clues as to how they feel about what they're saying, which you can then use to respond appropriately. You should also be taking notes on what they're saying in your head or on paper if it doesn't feel too formal. This will force you to really listen and to identify the most important aspects of what they're saying. Notes are also really good because once there's a natural pause in the conversation, you can scan them in order to make an insightful comment or pose a clarifying question. These types of comments and questions prove that you're really, truly paying attention and that you care about what the person is saying. When someone sees that you care, they are much more inclined to listen to you. They'll see that you're invested in them, which increases their trust in you. Trust and a willingness to listen are important traits you want to foster in those that you seek to lead. See, I told you listening wasn't passive. Number 2, respect dissenting opinions. When people come to you with ideas or opinions, you might not always agree, right? But that doesn't mean you should ignore them. Just the opposite. During these times of disaccord and disagreement, you should make it a point of truly listening to them even more closely. Really hear what they have to say. If you disagree on something, then that might be a red flag that there's a gap in understanding between the two of you, which is something that you'll want to address ASAP. So keep asking those clarifying questions until you fully understand their point of view. Once you understand where the disconnect is, you can invest time into bridging that gap. With particularly contentious topics, it's possible that you won't reach a point of agreement, and that's okay. As long as you've proved to them that you can clearly see things from their perspective, you've gone a very long way in resolving the matter. And they'll appreciate your interest in their point of view, even if you don't agree. And that will ensure that they continue to hear you out on unrelated topics in the future. In other words, by taking the time to get you on the same page, you've reinforced your ability to serve their best interests, which will foster trust and respect. 3, listen for needs. As I mentioned in a previous lesson on positively influencing people, being a leader is different than being a boss. As a leader, you need to understand the needs of those you lead. Why? Because your goal is to empower people to be as productive and as happy as they can be. The most surefire way to do that is to figure out what they need and give them what they need. And in order for you to figure out what they need, what do you have to do? Yep, you guessed it. You need to listen to them. Don't give them what you think they want or what you want. Anytime someone asks for something, you should be saying, yay, on the inside, because they just gave you an insight into what is actually important to them. Make a note of what people want and what they ask for, and soon you'll start to see a pattern in what people need. Once you figure that out, you can work on ways to serve that need. You put yourself in a position of power when you're able to deliver on people's needs. They're looking to you for help. They will grow to appreciate and respect you when you can provide it. So there we have it. 3 powerful steps to becoming a more effective leader through better listening. So let's quickly recap. Number 1, listen passionately. If listening feels easy, you're doing it wrong. Number 2, respect dissenting opinions. These are great opportunities to show that you are invested in them. And number 3, listen for what people want and then give it to them. There are a lot more askers than givers in this world, and it's no surprise that the givers are rewarded for their efforts, namely in trust and respect. All right, Explearners, that's a wrap on this lesson. Add these strategies to your Explearning Communications toolkit, try them out, and make them your own. If you enjoyed this lesson, like, comment, and share. It really helps support the Explearning community and all of the hard work that we put into this channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to join our tribe of Explearners. I will see you in my next lesson. Happy Explearning!